Azadeh Pourzand is the director of Impact Iran, a coalition of 19 human rights organizations, and she joins us now from London. Thank you for lending us your time, Azadeh. Before we talk about President Trump's threat and the subsequent ceasefire, if you can, I'd first like you to paint a picture for us of what life was like for Iranians before this conflict began compared to after.
Yes, thank you for having me. Immediately before this conflict, Iranians experienced sort of the climactic moment of the horrific years of repression under the Islamic Republic. On January 8th and 9th of 2026, there was basically a massacre of those who had come out on the streets to protest against the Islamic Republic. Hundreds and thousands were also they're detained, arrested, harassed on top of the killings. So Iranians that I am sort of in touch with or follow entered this conflict grieving, angry, and already quite agonized because of what I think is essentially a domestic war that the Islamic Republic has for long declared against its own citizens. And then when the conflict happened, basically the sky was no longer safe for the ordinary Iranians anymore. The already quite fragile economy became much worse for ordinary citizens, and also the internet shutdown, which is a usual technique of the Iranian regime, again became quite a difficult aspect of this conflict. Meanwhile, there were Iranians who were hoping that despite all the destruction that this conflict will bring, that they will be able to sort of use this moment in order to determine their destiny in a democratic way that they were hoping to. But that hope was also increasingly fragile as the conflict continued.
And Azadeh, you kind of started hinting on what my next question was going to be. Given all of what you just described and what's happened since Monday, and I do understand that Iranians are not homogenous, but what are the various thoughts and feelings Iranians now have toward the U.S., toward the regime, toward the future?
Yes, as you said, Iran is a large nation of 90 million people, and it would be naive to think of it as a homogeneous nation. At the same time, again, in my field of human rights, I have witnessed that dissent in this, in Iran, in recent years has dramatically increased in terms of the discontent with the Islamic Republic. And what I have witnessed is that, for example, the statement of President Trump that a whole civilization will be destroyed brought feelings of sort of patriarchy and nationalism, and sort of many Iranians who are against the Islamic Republic took offense of a statement of this degree of sort of disregard for a whole civilization. At the same time, this is not mutually exclusive. That it doesn't mean that because they found this statement quite threatening and offensive, overnight they decided to become subscribers or followers of the Islamic Republic, that they consider it as their killer. So they, I think, especially this week, many felt like they were sort of experiencing despair between a regime that will continue killing them, arresting them, harassing them, and external forces that increasingly are showing disregard for their well-being and for their aspirations. And they feel very similarly, again, as the limited connectivity allows us to understand with the fragile ceasefire, while relieved that there are hopefully no bombs being dropped on their head, but they feel that as the ordinary Iranian people, they are not at all a part of a ceasefire, that their human rights situation, that their well-being, economic, in terms of political expectations that they are not being included in these ceasefires. And so you see on social media saying this is a ceasefire between the United States and the Islamic Republic, and the Iranian people basically have disappeared from all of these kinds of conversations.
Azadeh, we have probably less than 30 seconds left, but I do want to ask you at this moment, what's the best possible outcome for the people of Iran in your estimation?
At this point, from what I understand, the minimal expectation is that if this ceasefire is going to continue and these negotiations will reach any outcome, that the Iranian people want, the conditions for their safety, their freedom, their ability to decide their destiny, the economic situation, and also the internet shutdown. At least some of this should be included in these negotiations. And that's what I see from some of the more sort of balanced voices that are able to voice their opinions from inside the Iran in very sporadic and patchy ways because of the internet shutdown and because of the fears that the Islamic Republic is surveilling them.
All right. Azadeh Pourzand, really appreciate your time and expertise and insight. Thank you.
Thank you.